Well, within an hour, my phone rang, and I thought it was a scam. I really did. If you're cutting a piece of meat and it's not juicy, you didn't do your job, right? I've got a sander down here that's I'm going to use in my mobile garage. I'll show you what I'm talking about, a mobile shop. Clamps cross over each other. Did you notice that about the same time I noticed it? Welcome, everyone. We made it home, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did. And now the truck that we sold is not roadie. I know that's the title on this. But we did sell a truck, and it's our pickup truck, and I'll show it to you right here. We sold it as we're selling all of our stuff from our business as we close out. So seems to be a slow process. I got a bunch of other things yet to sell.
Right.
But I didn't want to sell everything yet because I'm still working on projects while we're home. And I'm going to show you one of the projects that I'm working on. Sue said it'd be nice to have a griddle here, electric griddle. We can use it like when we're plugged in. And also it'd be good to have a hot plate, so that we don't always have to use propane. And what was the other thing that you bought? A griddle and and this, what do you call that?
It's an electric skillet.
Electric skillet. So, can be used right here, of course. But I said to Sue, what if I made a cutting board / cover for this that will sit right here when you want to use something over here, and you can cook right here, and you have your vent to go out and everything. And so she thought that was a pretty good idea. I'm in the process of doing that up in the shop. I'm going to take you up there. Well, we made it up into the shop / garage, because we don't own the house anymore, and my son-in-law does mechanic stuff, so I got to get my woodworking tools out and clear space for them. But this is what the cover is going to be, with a band that goes around, so that it'll set up higher than the burners and the control knobs. One thing I forgot to mention, I tried to sell that pickup truck for a while online, and I kept knocking the price down, and nobody was interested. And they were offering ridiculously low prices. And I said to Sue, forget it. It's time to pull it off, and when we'll just wait, and then I'll put it back up. Well, I did. I put it back up, and I put it up with what I felt was a reasonable number. And I said, it's a good place to start. Maybe I could start a little higher, but then I got to play that game again. I think it's a good number to sell it at. So I put it up, and when I put the ad up on Facebook, it said, we got to verify it before it goes live. So I said, well, I don't know, maybe it'll take a few hours, a day or whatever. I don't know, it doesn't matter. Well, within an hour, my phone rang, and I thought it was a scam. I really did. The guy sounded very legitimate, but I'm saying, I don't even think the ad's up. Well, how can, less than an hour, the guy asked all the right questions. He didn't try to knock the price down. He felt it was fair. I felt it was fair. So that's a good deal when both parties are happy. He said, when can I come and get it? I said, I'm here now. You can come and get it anytime you want. So he said, can I come and get it in the morning? I said, yep. Picked it up the next morning. That's probably a couple, 3 weeks ago now. But boom, it went in less than an hour, and I struggled to try to get it sold before. Anyway, so making this as a cutting board, so every one of these boards are cut and then turned up so that the side grain is up. Now I'm worried about expansion on it because you always have expansion with real wood, right? But you limit the expansion because of the way the boards are turned. And the reason that I'm talking about that is I'm thinking about the piece that's going to go on the side as a leg would be grooved out so that this fits into it and let it lap over like 3/8 of an inch, but then picture frame it around. So the problem with that is if this expands at all, it opens up these joints, the mitered joints at the end. So I'm still struggling with that a little bit, which way I want to go. The other thing is it's not being sold to anybody. It's ours. If the corners open up a tad, does it really matter? In the end, I guess the answer is probably no. And I put some, I made it out of maple, but then I put some pieces of cherry in just to get a little different look. Yeah, something different. The next step is to clean off the glue, and then we'll run it through the sander and get it all sand to thickness, and we'll go from there. The thickness is going to be around 3/4 of an inch. I say around, give or take. It doesn't really matter if it ended up a little under to get it all cleaned up. I forgot to mention, I'm going to use this as a cutting board too. So it's going to do double duty. It's going to be that cover, and that's the reason that I made it this way. Is if we get a brisket or something, nice piece of meat, by putting this band around it, I'm going to leave it up a little bit, and router it and everything. I'll show it to you. But that would help hold juice in if something happens. It will happen. That's just the way it is. Cut a turkey and it's if you're cutting a piece of meat and it's not juicy, you didn't do your job, right? All right, let's get over there and sand this thing. Well, I'm out of the shop today, kind of. I'm in my mobile shop. As we're in the process of turning the garage into a garage and from a shop, my tools had to go someplace until I decided to sell them. I've got a sander down here that's I'm going to use in my mobile garage. I'll show you what I'm talking about, a mobile shop. So what I decided to do yesterday, I didn't video anymore, but I decided to make these to be more like legs. They're almost like bracket feet at the end, but I left the support in the middle. They're not independent. They didn't get cut as a bracket foot would. It's just a support. And I figured once this is all sanded in and routed, it's going to be pretty nice to the touch, and it'll act as a handle to pick this cover up. So here's my sander. I'm going to have to be on my knees and do it. I'll show you what we're going to do. And then I'm going to sand these into the line, and we'll just get that all nice. I was lucky the drum that's on here is actually a pretty good size for what I'm doing. I didn't have to change it. So you can see what's going on here. This was pretty rough from the bandsaw, and now we're just cleaning it up, making it nice. Life will be good. You just got to go easy when you're doing this. Don't dig it in. Take a little bit off each time. I'm not really pushing too much. I'm just kind of following it. Yeah, she's coming. See? Down to just a few. All right, I'll show you what it looks like when we're done. This is what the sanded product looks like. So you can see it took out all of our bandsaw marks. And what I'm going to do now, we'll route this outside and inside, and then we'll give it a little hand sanding. We're going to glue them up. They've already been pre-fit, so this should go along pretty quick. So those routed up nicely. This is the inside, this is the outside. And give them a quick sanding before they go together. And after it goes together, you know, you're going to have clamp marks and everything. Everything will have to be sanded one more time, lightly. But that's it. So I'll do the rest of them, and we'll go to the next step and assemble it. I sanded the cutting board / cover. You notice that there was some lines in the corners. That's actually how I lined up my miters, because when you're cutting these things, it's a little different than if you're going to the outside. We're actually going in here, and it's a little more challenging to figure out where that miter is going to be. So I put marks there, line up marks. So we got rid of those, and we're ready to put this thing together. I'm going to get set up where I get this up off the table, and then we'll just clamp everything together. I didn't worry about sanding everything right now because some things are going to be sanded after, like the outside of this. And then when this goes together, I'm not going to leave this at a sharp point where they come together, so I'll probably route that. Then that has to be sanded in. But for the most part, everything's done. An important thing that needs to be done now is this lip, because the cutting board's going to go in here, and it's going to be very difficult to get in and sand that after. So made sure I did that. That's it. We're going to go to the next step and assemble this thing. The way the glue up is going to be performed, I took and dry fit everything, clamped it all together. So now what we'll do is we'll take off, let's see how we're going to do this now, because the clamps cross over each other. Did you notice that about the same time I noticed it? So the way that we're going to do this is to unclamp it and do 2 pieces at a time. The problem is if I take these off, so what I'll have to do is take these off, get glue on them. I'll probably have to turn these up and slide the clamps underneath them without taking it apart. I think that's the way it's going to have to go. And I'm actually going to test that theory before I go any further. So if this is going to work, this is the way it's going to have to go. Now that everything's all clamped up and in place, we'll simply take those off. Get that out of my way. That off. And this off. My thought is if I take these and put them up like this, we can slide underneath there. All right, so that means those side pieces are, actually it's front and rear, will stay in place. So if we go like this, yeah, that's going to work. So then we'll slide these through and we'll clamp those back on. So we're going to get glue onto 2 side pieces, and we're not going to glue the ends on them. That'll happen when we put those on. Let's get this off. We'll get some glue in there and some glue in here. This might be a good time for you to go give it the old up yours. Don't do it for me, do it for YouTube. They love that sort of thing. And I don't say it much, but I'm going to say it right now. I would appreciate it if you would subscribe and give it ye old up yours. We don't make any money off of the channel. And the only thing that we have to know that you're even out there and that you even care is to maybe put a comment down on the end. I would have done it differently. I like the way you did it. You know, whatever it might be. And just lets us know that somebody's out there and they really do care. That's it. That's all I got. All right, we're going to glue this up. Why is that not coming out? All right, we have a failure to communicate. I just used this thing the other day, and the glue's all stuck in there. All right. We got to fix that first. All right, this nozzle was a little plugged, but she's plugged no more. Put some glue on here. And put a good amount in the middle, and it should squeeze into a lot of places that I want it. Except out the end. Okay. Get those back on in place. Again, we didn't glue the ends. Okay, that's back in. As long as nothing moves, this should work out slick. And it's all clamped, so it shouldn't move. That in there. Boom, now we put the clamps back on. I'm trying not to make marks all over the place either, because I don't want to have to sand them out. Simple as that. And we're getting some glue squeezing out the top, which I'll go around and clean up. That's not such a bad thing, because I would like to have that sealed up, so kind of happy with that. Now, I might just leave that glue there until it sets up a little bit, and then just go in and scrape it out, because I don't want to go smearing it all over the place. Yeah, that's better. Okay, now we're going to do the front and the back pieces, and this time we're going to glue our corners. But this will be easier because these clamps are up the top. Yeah, glue is flowing really good now. It was worth taking a second there and fixing it. I was squeezing the heck out of that bottle and nothing was happening. Okay, so let's put that one back on first. End grain doesn't glue the best to begin with, and I suspect at some point this thing is probably going to blow apart, so I'll just keep my fingers crossed, and it'll be what it'll be. We do appreciate everybody that watches this channel. I know that I sound like Southwest. You have a lot of choices out there, and I get that. So when you watch our channel, Sue and I really appreciate it. Okay, let's get this on. My hope is that you get a little enjoyment out of what we do. I know we're not driving the truck right now, but we're getting ready to go back out. And by the way, we are going back out. The sale of the truck was the pickup truck. We're going to go into season 3 here. And we're starting to get it planned. We got some different things going on. I think we're going to be a little more active this time. I mean, we're still figuring this out. If you haven't figured that out for yourself, this thing about being on the road full time is it's a learning curve all the time. And sometimes we might act like we know what the heck we're doing, but to be honest with you, we're flying by the seat of our pants most of the time. But that's what makes it fun. Fun for you and for us. As long as we can keep our nose clean out there, that's really all that we can hope for. All right, there's our last clamp, and our miters are looking good. Okay, I'm going to go around and give everything another little tweak. Like I said, I'm going to let that glue set up just a tad, and then I'm going to go in where it won't smear all over the place. If I go in there now and try to wipe it up, I'm going to make a mess. And anything on the outside here, corners, that's nothing. That's nothing, because I'm going to route it and sand those corners. They're not going to stay like that. I'll come back and get you when we go to the next level, which is going to be sanding it up, and then we'll put a finish on it. I'll probably go outside and do that. Not that it smells, but give Dennis some room. He's doing some mechanical work today. All right, I'll catch you in a few minutes. Or I'll catch you in a Well, here's the finished product without the finish on it yet. It's all sanded, ready to go. We're going to do that outside. But this is what it's supposed to do. Let me see if I can put this down here. So this is a cover to go over this so that Sue can do cooking here. And it's just going to sit there. I might put some rubber bumpers under it. I don't know. We'll see. And then this is going to double as a cutting board that we could use here or over here. It fits well over here, so either way. All right, we're going to take it outside and we're going to put our finish on it. And our finish is a cutting board finish. It's a mineral spirit. So this can be done over and over again out on the road. If it's looking dry, we'll put some more on it. It's the same, I didn't use that on here. This is sprayed and over catalyzed varnish, but this we don't want to do that too because we're going to be cutting on it. And what else? Oh, the right here, this cutting board has that finish on it. And just redo it. You also do your spoons with it if you have wooden spoons, so you use the same stuff, and just keep them looking good, and more importantly, keeping the moisture out of them. Okay, let's take this outside and do it up, and we'll call this a done deal. I'm going to use some painter's pyramids. That's what they call this. I've used them plenty of times doing finish. It only touches in these two little points, so it's good to turn things over. So we're going to put the top down and do the underneath. You probably noticed there's some glue around. I didn't care about that. This will never be used this way. It would have been a bigger deal to try to get it out than what it was worth. So we're going to put this on, and the way that you apply it is with a rag. There's other methods it says on there, but I like to use a rag. And you don't rub it off. You leave it on and leave it wet, and use it in 24 hours. So we'll let this dry up tonight. I'll have to find a place for the night, maybe underneath the camper there in the basement. But for now, this is a good work table. So we're going to do this area right here all the way around, and then we'll tip it over and we'll do the top. And the top is the only thing that's more important. This is not the container that this came in. You can see that the label's been taped on there. Sue was having trouble with the other one. It was always damp and wet, so she ended up going with this. So if you're looking for some of this, it's not going to look like that on online. And there's a bunch of different ones. It's mineral spirits. I want to get in those corners good. And again, leave it wet, so you're not going to rub it off. It's going to want to soak it in a little bit. You'll probably end up doing another coat on it, making that cherry look nice. I want to get it sealed up good, especially up on the top. If we have any kind of spillage at all, I don't want it getting in there. Yeah, there's glue around. I didn't want to bother picking it out of there. I mean, generally I would get in there with a wet rag, but for this, I didn't want to do it. And the thing about a wet rag is you raise the grain. So then it looks different there, and you have to be able to sand it again. And it just opens up a can of worms. So if you see something here that you like, please subscribe. And don't be afraid to comment if you have any questions about any of this. I didn't show the whole thing of making this, because you have a hard enough time keeping people's interest to begin with. I don't want to offend you. I'm not talking about you in particular, but most folks don't make it past the introduction. And I do know that because we get to see all the analytics. So when you're doing one of these videos, you're trying your best to do things that are going to keep people interested. That's the bottom line. So I like to bring something to you that might be of interest. A few basic woodworking tools, and you could make something like this. It doesn't have to be too elaborate. Let's make sure we're getting the sides here. So you notice the painter's pyramids, which I wouldn't expect you to have that. It's kind of a thing you have when you're doing finish. They're holding this up off the table. And that way there, places that have finish on it won't be touching the plastic cover there. You can't see down there now. And there's no problem, because if you've missed something, you go back and put another coat on. It's really pretty easy to work with. You don't have to put a pair of gloves on. I suggest that you do, but it's not like it's going to hurt you. You're just going to be all oily. Just kind of mopping it on. You want it wet. If you read the instructions, it says it should look wet when you're done. And I suspect that we're going to put another coat on it. I'll let you know. But, well, that is going to take care of this little project. And I suspect it's going to take care of this video. So we're going to be doing some more videos while we're off the road, getting ready to go back on the road. And there's some repairs and upgrades and things like that that we'll be going over. And maybe you'll find it interesting. Maybe you'll run for the woods. I don't know. I have a hard time figuring out what folks like and what they don't like. But the fact of the matter is there's certain things you have to do. And I end up making a video of it. It is the next day, and I decided to put a second coat on. So this is what the finished product looks like with 2 coats on it. It's not completely dry, but it's to the point where you could handle it, that's for sure. It'll end up going inside and finishing drying overnight. If you made it this deep in the video, you've got a lot of stick-to-itiveness. Most people don't make it this far. But Sue and I certainly appreciate each and every one of you that do watch our videos, and especially the ones that make it to the end. Comment, subscribe, do all the good things. Don't forget to give it yold up yours. We appreciate that. More than that, it helps move the channel further ahead, the algorithms and all that nonsense. I hate playing the games. I just like making the videos. But thing is, if you're going to make them, you might as well make it useful, right? Well, thanks, and we'll see you on the next one.